Scott Sutton, thank you very much. And it's so good to see you.
Yep, likewise.
And well, yes, since I showed up late, it's especially good to see you. It's especially good to see you because I always remember you as a student as looking like a little lamb. You always had those cute curls.
Yeah, I don't have any hair anymore.
You don't have those curls anymore.
No.
But it's very professional looking.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So
That's
Scott is going to talk to us about his job this evening. And I was just saying, I don't fully understand what your job is. So I'm excited to hear you talk about it. Tell us what it is that you do.
definitely. So I'm a business analytics architect. I work for PPD, which is a clinical research organization. So we run clinical trials for pharmaceutical companies.
Oh.
So we find the doctors and sites and hospitals that will, run their trial for whatever medicine and devices that they're working on and recruit patients and whatnot. So actually, we've been pretty busy with, we've got, I think, 17 or 18 COVID trials going on right now.
Oh gosh, I hadn't thought of that. I guess so.
Yeah. So fortunately, maybe our business hasn't been, too negatively impacted,
Yeah.
But we'll see. So I've been very busy.
I was going to say, if anything, do you find that you're a little busier right now?
Oh gosh, yes. Yeah. I think between working from home, where the work is always there,
Right.
as well as just the nature of it and kind of what I do. So what I do is I work with our data. So in terms of all the data that comes in, so lab tests and lab data, the different patients and subjects and what they're running and doing and their visits and monitoring the sites and making sure that they're running the studies appropriately and everything. So been pulling a lot of data for that. And I put together reports for leadership and, management organizations and dashboards and develop those. So
Scott, that's really cool. I mean, that's a ton of work, but it's really, what a cool job.
Yeah.
How did you get there? You haven't always done this.
Yeah, no, well, my degree from memory is in psychology. So, natural fit with computer programming and analytics, but actually
with research.
Yeah, so that's really it. And it kind of started at Emory junior and senior year. I did the Friends of the Sciences. And so I went into a lab and did a lot of statistics work and studying. And I kind of realized that I was much more interested in the research part of psychology rather than therapy or whatnot. So then when I was in grad school, it was a heavy focus on research and statistics and a lot of programming for the studies, in terms of running, your different statistical tests and getting your data set up. And once I was done with that, I was kind of burnt out on school. And it was really kind of, you weren't sure what you were going to do or you were going to go get a PhD. And I wasn't sure I wanted to commit to a PhD at that point in time. And
where did you do your master's work?
At Wake Forest. Yeah, which was really exciting, and it was nice to be at a bigger school, but still small from like a big school perspective. It's not a huge one. But so I got married and we moved out to Las Vegas, and I had no idea what I was going to do. And then I met somebody else that had a psychology degree and worked at one of the casinos in marketing. And so I kind of got in that way and did customer marketing, so pulling, lists of hotel guests and casino players and sending them mailers, which was interesting and fun, and just kind of deeper and deeper into the computer programming aspects and data science a little bit, started touching on that. Yeah.
So how did you transition from that to this?
So we moved back when my wife was done with, she went and got a PhD at UNLV. And so we moved back to North Carolina, where she was from, and where we live now. And
you're in Wilmington, right?
Yes, right outside of it. So, yeah. So I actually worked from home for a while, remotely, and traveled and did consulting with gaming companies, casinos, and hotels, and kind of the entertainment and hospitality industry. I got burnt out on it. I felt like I wasn't really doing anything. It was it was fun, but it wasn't, I was like, I'm not making a difference.
Yeah.
Well,
you were, just in a different kind of way.
Right.
Not in the way you had, and not in the way you had in mind.
Right. And so there's a big company here in Wilmington, PPD, who I work for now, that was based out of here. And I've been trying to get in with them for a while. I missed being in the office. I wanted to go back. I missed the social aspects of that. And so finally an opening came up in their analytics organization.
And here you are.
A lot of stuff in between there, but that's kind of.
Well, so what's a typical day like for you? Is it a lot of computer work?
Yes. So the typical day, I'm, on the computer on calls a lot. It's probably half of the day I'm on calls and meetings talking about work that needs to be done and analyses that the business needs to be run. Like right now we're looking at how many subjects are missing, visits that they're supposed to do because they can't get into the doctor's office.
Yeah.
So, looking at and doing, by country and understanding the impacts and are they going to be able to do them again? So a lot of like gathering requirements of what type of data and analysis we need to put together. And then the other part is, actually doing that analysis and putting together the data.
Do you enjoy that? I mean, it feels to me. It feels like numbers. I'm an English major, so that feels like
I do. So it brings out the analytical side of you in terms of thinking, well, how should we approach this? It's not always like, okay, do X and you get Y.
Right.
You need to think about, well, do we need to take out certain types of data and is this really the right number and are we calculating this correctly? And so I enjoy thinking about that.
Yeah. I feel like I need to have a whole different conversation with you about, are you feeling encouraged at all about some of the things you're seeing? But are you?
Yeah, I think so. So it seems like a lot of, definitely the trends are moving back up, especially in, Asia and in some of the European countries. So I'm hoping that that's starting to move our way as well.
Well, good. All right, but that's a happy thing. We'll
yeah.
Well, so what else? You said you were a psychology major at Emory. Were there other things you did at Emory, Henry, that prepared you for what you're doing?
Well, probably. Talk about something I can't. No.
That was a left field question. Sorry.
Oh, no, that's good. Yeah, I mentioned the Friends of the Sciences, and that was
that's a great plug.
And that was definitely got me out and into like a big university research lab.
Where did you say you did your Friends of the Sciences gig?
I did it at BYU in Utah.
So wow.
A big school experience. It was a cultural experience. So,
yeah.
I turned 21 out there, so I won't go into that too much. But not.
I'm sure did you party with the Mormons?
Yeah. But it was exciting. It was fun. It was a good experience for me. I like to call it my cross-cultural studies.
Exactly.
It was my study abroad.
Abroad the Mississippi.
Yeah.
So in this day and age with a lot of crazy stuff going on, you're still plenty busy in your job. So clearly there are some jobs out there still, available. What is your best advice to young people right now as they're trying to figure out how to maneuver these waters?
Yeah, I think outside the box. I didn't really know what I was getting into, and quite honestly, I faked it enough to get my first job and was able to, do some research and get in there. And then when I got in, I thought I was scared to death and had no idea what I was doing. And I thought, I'm a psychology major and I'm working on computers all day. So I worked really hard to learn. So don't stop, learning. You got to keep it going in whatever you do. I think Emory prepares you for how to think and how to get in there and how to act. But when you get a job, you still got to learn what that job is. I don't think whatever you learn in school helps you to be a good employee or whatever you do, but it's not really for a specific job.
Right.
But I think, be prepared to think outside the box and think about how you can sell yourself. Because I really, when I got started in marketing, I thought, well, marketing's just psychology. I'm just trying to figure out how to motivate people and understand behavior and study that. So I really pitched that aspect, as well as, I knew enough about math and numbers and data to pull the rest of it together.
Well, good.
And there were definitely a lot of discouraging. It took me a long time to find a job. So it was after I graduated, I graduated in May, and I didn't get a job until August. So you had to keep plugging at it. So don't get discouraged. I got turned down plenty of times. And there was a time where I thought I was going to be a teacher, like a high school teacher, that was coming in, and I just had to throw myself at a lot of different things and think, as you go on different interviews for different types of jobs, you got to kind of change how you approach it, and not necessarily lie, but sell that aspect of your skills that would meet that job.
Highlight a different part of your toolkit that would be helpful for what
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, how long have you been with this current company?
5 years. So just
Oh, that's good.
years back in December.
Yeah. And do you think you'll stay with them a while, or
Yeah, I think, I like it. It keeps me busy. I've done well there, and I like the people that I work with. And, I've worked, this is the fourth company that I've worked for. So there were a couple others in the middle there. And I found that, it's really important to like who you work with.
Yeah.
To like what you do for the most part. There are days when I don't, and there are days when I do. And so as long as that stays true, then I'm good.
Well, I would think it has to be kind of exciting to be, I mean, it's a terrible time in the country, in the world, but it's kind of exciting to be dealing with some of the things that may actually help us out of this situation.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah. And it's interesting to be on the front line of that and hearing about, well, there's this type of test or study that they want to, run, their trial on. And, a lot of these things are getting fast tracked by the regulatory authorities like the FDA right now, because they want to solve it quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And actually, we've got a big lab in Richmond, Virginia, and there's another Emory alumni that works there. So
Who's that?
Friedel Muldoon.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Friedel Muldoon.
Oh, Friedel, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's there. I actually came across her email one day and was like, hey, the same company. But yeah.
That's awesome. Well, yeah, she and Daddy came to the tailgate at Randolph Macon this fall.
Yeah. So she's in there. I don't know if she's working on any of these studies, but she's in the vaccines, I think, in labs. And
well, how cool is that?
Yeah.
Emory and Henry making a difference all over the place.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, Scott, thanks for talking to us about what you're doing. And if we have some students who would like to follow up and maybe ask you some questions, do you mind if we share that information?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Send them my way. I'm more than happy to help them along or give any advice. Great.
Oh, that's awesome. Or if we just want to come to Wilmington and be warm for a while.
Yeah, come on. The beach is open last week, so you just got to 6 feet apart.
We might wait a couple weeks and just see how.
Yeah. I don't know if you can stay anywhere, but
yeah. Well, there's that.
You can camp out in my yard.
There you go. All right. Hey, Scott, thank you very, very much, and thank you for your patience. I'm sorry I was late.